are basically financing that forward contract. And typically for forward contract notes, they would typically have a fixed tenor, they would have a fixed rate of return on investment. And then you can also make money. So, and you typically for such instruments are suitable for investors that are risk averse and would want to just ensure that their capital is not eroded in any way, shape, or form. They just want that comfort that they're comfortable with a fixed rate of return. Return is usually typically lower than when you trade your sports market, but it gives them that comfort that yes, they know what they are getting at the end of the transaction. And of course, we also have things like the ETC or the FETC, which is basically instead of you having to trade individual sports contracts, and instead of you having to trade maize contracts, sorghum contracts, you're basically trading a bucket of commodity that has been constituted together. And the impact of that is it will give you a weighted return on investment. So it will basically take the return that you would, the return and the risk, because again, return and risk, they go together. The return and risk you would typically have on your maize, on your sorghum, on your soybean, or whatever makes up that basket of FETC, puts it together and give you the average. That is what you get on your FETC. And again, you have your input note. So basically, the input notes also follows the characteristics of your fixed income, in which there's a fixed rate of return. And so to make money, depending on your risk appetite, right, you could decide to go very bullish by going all out for your sports contract, or you could decide to be very conservative by doing bulk of your investment on the fixed income, or you could have a mixed portfolio in which you do partly sports, partly fixed income. Again, all of this depend on your risk appetite, but all of these products are available for investors to trade, and then you can basically take your position. My recommendation typically would be that if you're trading, if you have a portfolio that is above 5 million, you do a 50% in sports, you do it again. These are my own opinion, and also it is depend. You need to assess your level of risk, right? To know how to divide your portfolio. But you could typically do like a 50% on sports. You could do a 30% on the fixed income, and then you can do a 20% on the FETC, and then that would typically give you a medium to high return on investment. Thank you.
Wow, I couldn't have done a better explanation myself. And if you had this question in mind on how to make money in commodity trading, Kunto has covered all aspects of how to do that on Comex, from sports to the input notes to the FETC. So the decision is now left to you on how you like to make money in commodity trading. Now, a few days ago, we listed a new commodity on our platform, and that's cashew. And we had a lot of questions about that. People were asking, is it the right time to buy cashew? Should I wait? What's going on? Can I know more about cashew? And we also had that of the input notes. People also had questions there as well. So I'm calling on Adana. Please, can you give us a brief description or information on our cashew listing and input notes as well?
Okay. For those of you that have not cashed in on cashew and the input notes, I honestly don't know what you're waiting for, but don't worry. I'm sure that after this webinar, you're very convinced why you should get into the why you should go and invest right away. I think that I'm just going to jump off from what Funto has said. I think that, at Comex, what we really want to do is to cater to investors of different risk appetites, whether you're conservative, whether you're high risk, whether you're medium risk, low risk. On Comex, there will be a product that is structured for you, and really, the cashew product and the input note appeals to different investors of whatever risk appetite that you are. So the cashew nut spot contract on Comex is just like, if you're already an OG investor on Comex, you're familiar with cocoa, paddy rice spots, cocoa spots, sorghum spots. So basically, that is how cashew is. And 1 unit of cashew is for 2,500. So basically, you come into the market, and we always advise that you jump in as soon as the product is launched so that you can start to benefit on the price appreciation that happens with the spot contract. So you jump into the market, fund your wallet, and buy as much units of cashew contract as you want, and your trade gets matched, and then you can sell whenever that you want to. So what this spot contract allows you to do is to enter the market and exit the market whenever you want, as you wish, right? But you're also benefiting from price appreciation that would have happened right from when you joined in up until when you leave. And then we have the FX input note, which is a fixed income product. So if you heard when Funto was speaking, she made mention of the different risk appetite. And so we also found out that some of the investors on Comex want to put in their money and just go to bed, and at the end of maturity they come and take their money with more money on top of it. So that is why we also created the FX input notes. So what this allows you to do, right, is 1 unit of an input note costs 100,000. You come in, and then it's locked for a period of 180 days, and then at the end, by the end of maturity, or rather at maturity, at maturity, you are able to get your money plus an interest of 6% on top of the input notes. Also, with this fixed income with the input notes, you have a space of 2 weeks to jump into the market, and then it's locked up until maturity. So basically, that's how the FX input notes works, and also the cashew spot contract. So if you've not entered into the market, we're really looking at you with corner eyes now. We're really looking at you with corner eyes now.
Well, some questions are actually already coming in. But anyway, yes, Adana, thank you for that. So basically, if you have not started trading cashew, or if you've not invested in the input notes, in Adana's words, I don't know what you are waiting for. So that's basically that on new listing, cashew, and input notes. So another question here is, what's the minimum amount you can trade with on Comex? And I will just answer this briefly. And it really depends on the price of the commodities that are currently listed on Comex. So if you want to buy any commodity, you just fund at least get at least 1 unit. So that will be the minimum you can then fund in your account to buy that particular commodity. So there's no fixed price. It just depends on the price of the commodity you want to purchase at that particular time. Another question here is, can you cancel a trade on Comex? And we also get this question a number of times, and I guess it's coming from a place where people try to place an order, and maybe after some days it's not matched, but like they don't know if they can cancel the trade and set another buy order. So Idaya, please, can you enlighten us on that? Can one cancel a trade on Comex? And can you also probably describe the process if you can?
All right, thank you, Chisom. Can you guys hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, it's
Yes, I
better.
can hear you.
All right, so yeah, definitely you can cancel your trades on Comex, and it's actually very easy to do. So once you log in into your account, you On the home page, you see the market tab just below on the screen. So click on the market tab. That's when you're actually using the mobile app. So the process is quite different when you're using the web version, which I'll also explain. So when you're using the mobile app, when you log it into your app, you basically click on market tab on the home screen. Then you would see a drop down list of different options of portfolio or market or even open orders. So you actually have to click on the open order. So when you click on the open order, it gives you another view where you see your buy orders, your sell orders. So basically to and also my orders. So under my buy order, you basically see all the orders you've put out to buy on the platform. And when you scroll to your sell order, you see all the orders you've put out to sell on the platform, including orders. So under my order, I don't know if you're following. So
We can hear you, Idaya.
hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. All right. So I just wanted to be sure that you guys can hear me. So when you click on under my orders, that is where you actually see your personal orders that you have put out to buy or to sell. So you just go through the list and click on the actual order you want to cancel. Either is a buy order or a sell order. So you click on the order you want to cancel. You see the option of cancel. Then you click on it. That immediately you click on it, that order would get cancelled and your fund will be reverted back into your wallet. I hope that is clear.
Yes, that's clear, Adana. Sorry, that's clear, Idaya. Thank you very much for that and for that answer. So, if you were confused on how to cancel a trade on Comex, Idaya has answered. If you need more clarity, you can still let us know in a Telegram group or something. Then we'll see how we can go from there. So before I go into the next question, um, I just want to use opportunity to say that if you're trying to fund on Comex, because we've been having comments where people fund and they get their funds delayed. Please also try using the
Oh, sorry,
PayPal.
sorry. I forgot to mention at all, Chisom. Sorry, I forgot to mention.
Yes, Idaya, please continue. Okay, while we wait on Idaya, I was just saying that you can also try using the Paystack function on the Comex platform if you want instant reflection of your funding in your account.
Um,
Just try Paystack for
Okay,
that.
thank you, Chisom. So I said
okay. Okay, I think she's dropped
Yes,
out.
Idaya, please go on.
Her network is bad, so she has dropped out. I'm sure to join back in.
Okay. While we wait for Idaya, I guess I'll just go into some of the other questions that were sent
Um,
to us
hi-
during
Please, I
the
just wanted to like piggyback on the answer that you were giving before on the funding. Um,
Okay.
so we always advise. So we have two funding methods, right? So you can either do the pay stack or you do the bank transfer. If you fund with the pay stack, it's more instant. Once you fund with the bank transfer, please don't forget to click on the notify me button. That way we are notified that you've made a bank transfer, and then your wallet is automatically funded. But if you don't indicate with the notify me button that you have made a transfer, then it's difficult for us to know that you made a transfer. And so we want you to have a very great experience. So please, if you make a transfer to fund your wallet, don't forget to click on the notify me button and the description of the transfer, at least with your name or your client ID, just to let us know that who you are, and then able to fund your wallet appropriately. So Chiso, I'm sorry, you can go ahead. I just wanted to just clear.
Okay. Thank you very much for that addition. That's very important to note as well. That will help your funding to even reflect faster if you decide to use the bank transfer method. So let me go straight into the next question. We're almost we're already 42 minutes in. So this question is to you, Funto. So someone asked, does one need a broker when selling commodities? Does one need a broker when selling commodities on the Comex platform?
Okay, so if you understand the workings of an exchange, whether it's a commodity exchange or whether it's as a equity exchange, every exchange requires that the trade goes through a broker, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're trading equity or you're trading commodity. So yes, you need a broker to trade on Comex or on commodity on AFEX. Now, Comex in itself has a broker behind it, which is why when you download, you are automatically tied to a broker that you then pass your trade through. For other, apart from the broker behind Comex, we have other known broker in the markets, right? We have the likes of Vertiva, we have the likes of Lead Capital, we have Marble Capital, and we have quite a number of brokers already. So if you go through the community session, you will see the list of the brokers that are there, and then you can decide which broker you want your trade to go through.
Okay. Thank you very much, Funto, for that answer. So let me just quickly pick one or two questions that we have in the chat section. And I realized that immediately Adana spoke about cashew. Quite a number of people have some questions on that. And please, you can still drop your questions. We'll pick the little that we can in this short period of time. So Ade Damola said, is this the best time to invest in cashew nuts? So please, can you answer that question?
Yes. So the answer is yes. Cashew, unlike grains, cashew, unlike maize, has more than one season in the year, and around late February, March is usually a new season for cashew. Cashew has a short, and because it has more than one season in a year, you would have the one earlier in the year, and then you have another season later in the year. So our listing of cashew at this time tallies with the harvest season, which will typically happen around this time of the year. So if you're going into cashew now, yes, it's a good time for you to go into cashew now. Can you guys hear me? I think Chisholm is frozen.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So Chisholm seems to be frozen.
Yeah. Let's see if we can just go through the Q&A very fast. Okay, so
Yeah.
asking, I bought a unit of FETC. How do I monitor the price action and know when to sell in order to make profits? I think let me just take a stab at this. So the FETC is a fixed income, it's a fixed product, right? And so once you buy, you can sell up until maturity. And whenever you open your portfolio, you see the increment on the prices depending on when you So you'll be seeing the increments, the price appreciation on top of the prices. And so at the end of the month, once it gets to maturity, then you're able to sell, and then you can once you sell, your money plus the interest that has, or rather the price appreciation that have accrued would be credited to your wallet, and then you can either reinvest into another product or withdraw into your bank account. So we have a question here from Toyomi. I want to take that. If I buy products during harvest season, will Apex assist me with storage until I'm ready to sell?
So we have two boards, right? We have the sports board and we have the OTC board. The sports board is where you deal your physicals, and usually it is not for entirely for retail investors, except for those that want to buy and take delivery of physicals. So if you're looking at trading in physicals, then you would need to upgrade your membership on Comex, and then necessary access to the OTC board will be given to you. But to answer the question, yes, you can buy the physical and store in accredited warehouses, and then you basically be charged the storage and handling fee up until when you take delivery of the physical.
Okay.
Sorry about the break in transmission, network issues. Thank you very much for that question.
Yeah. I think there's another question here. I would like to know when Apex will have ethical Sharia compliance products listed. The sport products mirror the concept as both risk and rewards are shared.
Okay, so do you want me to go?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're currently going through certification, Sharia certification for our product on Sharia compliance. And in a few weeks, we would have, for all the products that are currently listed on our Comex, we would have the equivalent of the Sharia compliant version once we're done with the certification.
Okay. There's a question. Do you have any commodities that yield is in Forex?
Yes. So we do. So can you take the question again, please?
Do you have any commodities that the yield is in Forex? I don't know if the person is.
Yes, we do. But they are, so again, when I was mentioning the how you could make money on Comex, I did mention that we have our spot contracts and we have our fixed income like products. So, and one of them that I mentioned is the forward contract note. Our forward contract could actually be a forward contract for local aggregation or forward contract for exports products. And for the forward contract on the export product, which is basically financing exports of commodities like cocoa, commodities like ginger, commodities like sesame and cashew, the return or the coupon on them are paid in dollars, right? So investment is in Naira, principal that are paid back in Naira, but the interests on them, which is coupon based, are paid in dollars. And those products would typically come out around the season where exports products are available in the market, which would typically be around July, August. That is when we typically have a dollar yielding instruments listed on the platform.
Thank you. Just one other question. Let me see. I'm running through to see the question. A lot of questions here. How can you monitor your commodity to know when to sell and exit markets? So this will be dependent on the product that you're invested in, right? So if you invest in fixed income products like the note, for example, then you know that you have a set, like a specific interest that would accrue, and so you don't need to come in and be monitoring it. By the end of maturity, you know that this is what you're getting. If you're going into the spot contract, then that's where you like come in and just check. So we have FX weekly prices that go out every week to all our investors. You also like to join our Telegram group. We also drop that there weekly as well. On the Comex platform, you would see prices increase. So you can come in and monitor on the app. We also have the weekly reports that are sent out that you can find on our website, fxnigeria.com. So depending on the products that you're trying to, you want to invest in, the entry and exit and when to sell might differ a bit. Funke, I don't know if there's any other addition.
So fantastic response. Just to add to what Adana has said, again, when you're going into Comex, right? I have one thing at the back of your mind in terms of products. The products are in two broad categories. It is either it's a fixed income product or it is a traded product. When you're looking at the traded product, that is where you have your spot contract, your sports contract, right? And under your sports contract, we have different commodities. So knowing when to buy or when to buy and sell the commodity, you need to understand the planting and the harvest cycle of the particular commodity you're going into. Just as I mentioned at the beginning, that for most of the grains or for most of the crops that are produced locally, it is a one season for most of them. So which implies that planting would be around the raining season and harvest would be around towards the end of the year when the rains are over. So for the likes of maize, sorghum, soybeans, it is advisable you come in at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, meaning when harvest happens, which is typically between October, anywhere starting from late October up until end of February, is a good time to come in because prices are low at November. Prices would climb as you move away from November, but they won't climb up in various astronomical ways. Then somewhere between February and April, May, prices would go up and down. It will fluctuate basically. And then between May and June, July, prices will reach their all-time high because that's the end of the season. So bearing that in mind, you then want to say, okay, I want to come in at this price. For some people, they will say, you know what, I'll come in at this price. Once I get a 10% price appreciation, I am exiting. And some would say, you know what, I'm coming in at the beginning of the season. I want to go all lengths to the end of the season, and I'm exiting at the end of the season. But understanding the crop calendar of the particular commodity you want to invest in is very critical to you knowing when to go into the market and when to exit. For commodities like paddy rice, commodities like cashew, commodities like cocoa that have more than one season, you can't do the come in November and stay 270 days or 9 months. You need to watch what is happening, particularly for the export ones. You need to watch what's happening within the international market because activities around the international market will definitely impact the prices of local market, right? And then also you need to understand the final destinations of some of these commodities, right? For cashew, for instance, for bulk of the cashew that we produce in Nigeria, the final destination is India and the Vietnam, right? So if they are buying, it implies that there will be an increase in price. If they are not buying, that means the price of cashew will crash. So a number of things goes into, what's very critical is understanding the season, the planting and the harvest cycle of the commodity you want to invest in. It would help you know when to come in and when to exit that market. Thank you.
Thank you, Fonto.
Thank you very much for that. Ada, I don't know, has the question on the difference between OTC and spots been answered? I was off for a bit.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, someone asked here that what's the difference between OTC and spots?
So the difference between the OTC and the spot is just in the way the transaction are settled, right? For the spot contract, settlement is in cash, meaning that if you're buying or you're selling. If you're buying, for instance, you're not buying because you want to take the underlying assets that underlines the contract. You're buying because you're buying the contract, you're waiting for the price to appreciate, and then you're selling, and then that settlement will happen in cash or in currency. But for the OTC market is usually a B2B platform where the key players in that market are the core traders of this physical commodity and the ultimate consumers of these commodities. So the players you would see that on the buying end of that in the OTC market would typically be your agro processors like your Nestle, your Olam, your feed millers, your rice millers, and the rest of them. Those are the ones you would see playing large on the OTC market. And the OTC market is actually a big ticket market. It's a big volume market. So typically you would see people going into the OTC market, they are transacting in millions and even up to billions in terms of the value of commodities that are being traded. So basic difference is, number one, OTC is settled in the physical. You actually take physical delivery of the commodity that you're trading, whereas on the spot market, you're trading for capital appreciation and settlement is in cash.
Well, thank you once again, Funto, for that very comprehensive answer. We're literally 3 minutes away from 4 p.m. and this is a 1 hour webinar. I don't know, should we take one more question or should we call it a wrap?
Okay, let's just take tons of questions though.
Yes, we do. We have a lot of questions. We have some questions. Okay, someone is asking this question. And is basically asking for clarity. The person is asking, why is the price listed on Comex different from the real price in the physical commodity market? Funto, please, can you answer that? Okay. I'm not exactly sure what.
Yeah. So the difference is for the physical market, you're not accounting for storage. Again, for every contract that is traded on the spot market, there's an underlying commodity in a warehouse. So it's not a gambling system. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's not an MLM kind of system. For every kobo of contract listed on the exchange, there is an equivalent asset that is backing it. And then there's the process of converting that physical asset into a contract called the securitization. In the process of securitizing it, you're putting into consideration collateral management, you're putting into consideration storage, fumigation, and the rest of them. So all of those costs put together makes that difference between what is happening in the physical market and what is happening on Comex. At the end of the day, there is kind of, you could draw a correlation in what is happening in the physical market and what will potentially happen on Comex. So if prices are rising on the physical market, right, chances are that the price on the Comex will also rise. And if prices are dropping in the physical market, chances that prices would also drop on Comex. I don't know if that answers the questions.
I think that answers the question. That was a question from Ade.
And
I hope that answers your question. So Desmond, Funto, you're saying something?
Yeah. There's this question from
okay. There's a
asking if we have a flat index. What was the performance for the year 2020? I don't have the exact. So the answer is yes. We do have our own index. We have our ACI and we have our AEI. AEI is for the export. Is the index for the export. Is why the ACI is the index for the exchange. I don't have the exact number, but we can get that across to you.
Okay, and there's Desmond here. He's asking, is there any product I can invest in that has a determined ROI? Desmond, that would be our input notes, which we currently have listed on the platform. At the moment, you can invest with as little as 100,000, and in 180 days, you get a 6% interest on your investment alongside your capital. So that's one instrument you can invest in on the Comex platform with a determined ROI. The spot commodities, however, don't have a fixed ROI, of course, because it's there for trading, but the input notes has that, so you can invest in our input notes. Shit.
Sorry, okay. I think there was just to add to what she's said, right? Apart from the input note, yes, I still encourage people to buy into the FETC, right? Yes, the FETC is not a fixed in, is not, it doesn't give you that final return on investment, but I would say that it will still give you a decent return on investment, even at whatever price it is now, because it is an actively managed basket of commodity with a fund manager that is looking at the trends in the market and adjusting the portfolio as appropriate to ensure that the investors get the optimum return on investment. So it takes off that body, it takes the burden off you to decide whether you want to buy maize, or if it is a good time to buy maize, or is a good time to buy sorghum or soybean. It is basically buying into the FETC and have a fund manager actively manage that. I think from listing till date, the FETC had done 41.8% return on investment. I am optimistic that it could still go as high as 5%. So there's a 9% upside that anyone coming in at this point could still potentially make.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that addition, Funto. So Adedamola is asking, please, what is the commodity calendar for cashew nuts? Funto, please, can you help with that answer?
I didn't get that.
What is the commodity calendar? So someone is asking, please, what is the commodity calendar for cashew nuts? I guess the same way you explain on the calendar for other commodities that are listed on Comex. Person wants to know what the calendar is like for cashew nuts.
Okay, so the calendar for cashew nut, just as I mentioned, we have two calendar seasons for cashew nut. One at the early part of the year, which is between March and late February, March, and that window period will typically be for about 90 days. So you have this season starting around this time up until 90 days would be March, April, May, to about late May, early June, and then you have another season coming up around September, which will last for another 3 months.
Thank you for that. Adedamola, I hope your question has been answered. This is already way after 4 p.m. I don't know. We might not be able to answer all your questions, but trust that this is not our last webinar. We'll still plan other webinars in the future where we get to answer your questions and also keep you updated on the commodity market. However, if you've not joined our Telegram group, you should do that right now. Like Adana said, we post things that can be helpful to you as a trader in the commodity market. And if you're yet to sign up to Comex, I don't know what you're waiting for after this webinar. You should do that, join our Telegram group, sign up, and start trading. So I think that's pretty much it. Funto, do you have any final words for us?
So I would say that the commodities market is a very interesting space. For one, it currently delivers a higher return on investment than any investment opportunity that you have in the market. For two, it is also an impact investment. And for every naira that you invest on Comex, it eventually finds its way back to a farmer in Saminaka or in faraway Nasarawa, and it helps them to continue to procure, or help them to continue to have the ability to procure quality inputs, which would also definitely increase their productivity and ensure that they have a better standard of living. And then, of course, commodity is not a get rich or it's not a money doubling entity, or it's not a get rich quick vehicle. As with every investment, it takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes mastering the trading skill for you to get the best out of it. It's an interesting space, pretty much. Thank you.
Yes, that's pretty much it. So thank you everyone for joining this webinar. Thank you so much, and just keep watching this space. Like I said, join our Telegram groups, sign up to Comex, and just stay informed. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Bye.